Shalom, brothers. I want to start off by giving all praises to the Most High and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Christ. Double honors to the elders, respects to the brothers out there doing this work. Alright, wake up to our tribes of Israel, so-called Native Americans, Latinos, and Negroes. Death to the heathens, death to two-thirds, death to this wicked kingdom, this wicked sinful kingdom. Alright, so I want to talk about confusion of faces, man. I want to do a lesson, try to do a lesson on confusion of faces. Alright, so a lot of people, from all many different backgrounds and stuff like that, they're not understanding that there's a reason sometimes when you come to this truth. I mean, for the most part, a lot of times it's for your condemnation. The Most High might just have you come, just to get condemned. But most of the time, though, there's a reason why a lot of people are drawn to this truth, because this truth is like a beacon of light. And, if you're drawn to it most of the time, it's for a good reason, most of the time. But there's a difference between being drawn to something and just wanting to think you know it all and just stop and run your mouth when brothers are preaching. There's a difference between feeling like, oh, I can feel those brothers, I dig those brothers, and then you actually stop, but then you have some people, they don't really dig the brothers, they don't really care, they'll just stop just to entertain themselves, or get a laugh for the day, or get a laugh in for the day or something. That's where they slip up at, man. Don't let the Most High catch you slipping, man. So confusion of faces. Daniel 9 verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces. Alright. As of this day, to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near, and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass, that they have trespassed against thee. O Lord, to us belong the confusion of faces, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. That confusion of faces is going into, it's going into what the brothers talk about, how, because, the so-called white man, they make up, they're playing this black and white game, but according to the Bible, ain't no such thing as a black and white person. Ain't no such thing as a black person, ain't no such thing as a white person. And the so-called white man, they know that they're Esau, at least the ones in the know, they know that they're Esau. Alright, they know Esau is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth, man. So, confusion of faces is like a so-called black person who, from the Most High, wasn't from the tribe of Judah, so-called African American, having sex with another nation. Like if a so-called black person flew over to China, had sex with a Chinese woman, she had a baby, that's a Jake, that's an Israelite baby. Probably might look a little bit black at first, it all depends on who has the dominant gene, most likely the so-called black person. And that baby gonna come out looking Chinese. Now give it some time, couple years, maybe a couple generations. That baby go ahead with another Chinese woman, boom, and little by little that baby gonna start, look, until that baby looks all the way Chinese. You won't even be able to recognize probably no melanin or nothing on the baby. You'll probably think that baby was that baby's a natural born Chinese, so-called Chinese, actually, Moabite. But that's what confusion of faces is. Now you're gonna look at that person and be like, that ain't an Israelite, cause he ain't black, because he don't look Hispanic. So there's a reason why brothers, because you don't want to mess with the Lord's elect, so you never know who they are. So I mean, you don't just like run brothers off. If brothers are drawn to this truth and they're understanding it, and they're getting it, you don't want to, like, you don't want to say, hey man, you're white, you look white, there's no way you could be part of the elect because you're white. Nah. You know, you let them stay until the Most High come, man. You know, then the Most High would decide. Cause a lot of brothers got that gift too, where they can like spiritually discern things. Like they could just look at you based on your spirit. They could be like, yeah, that's a Jake, man, based on your spirit. So that's what it is, man. That's what the confusion of faces is. Numbers 1 and 8. So I'm just trying to get brothers to understand that you have to go, look deep in your background, most likely. Because if you're drawn to this truth, man, you never know. You might be a Jake. You your dad. It only takes one, man. You don't have to have like two or three darn dads, so-called black dads. You only need one. If you had one, and it never changed, man. If you just had one with another nation or whatever, man, and that just went on, that person is an Israelite, man. That baby gonna keep being an Israelite. Cause what? Cause why? Numbers 1 verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. So they declare their pedigrees, their lineage and everything, by the house of their fathers, not by the house of their mothers, by the house of their fathers. Because the father carries the seed. The woman is like the mother earth, man, and then the man has a seed. You plant the seed in the woman, like how you plant a seed in the ground. An apple seed planted in the ground does not bring forth a banana sucker or a banana tree or whatever. So that's what brothers try to explain to other brothers. So Romans 8 verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. So the Spirit beareth witness, man. The Spirit itself beareth witness. Alright, so doesn't matter what nobody say, man. Certain brothers, especially the elders, will be able to just recognize that spirit, man. Luke 3 verse 17. Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor, and will gather the wheat into his garden, but the chaff he will burn with fire unquenchable. That wheat and the chaff, man. Because right now the wheat and the chaff, the wheat and the tears, wheat and the chaff, is mixing. So the Most High, man. I mean, the Most High. Our Savior, Yahushua, they're letting it grow together, man. At the end, he's gonna, Matthew 25 verse 31. At the end, he's gonna do the separating, man. Well, the angels, but I mean, he's gonna do the separating too. Matthew 25 verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. The goats, man, these other nations, his sheep, because, scriptures say, I come not but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I come not but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So, the sheep are the 12 tribes of Israel. mainly the elect and the multitude of believers, because 2/3 going to be destroyed. And like brothers say, they're going to come back out on the other side ashamed. But the goats are these other nations. So what now? The goats, so-called, these other nations, they mixed in with our people, especially when our people went into captivity, right? These other nations, mostly the so-called white man, also having sex with our women. So you see a so-called black woman, and you being as racist as ever, well, not as racist, but as simple as ever, thinking that because that person is black, that has to be a Israelite. You never know, man. A so-called black person, might not be an Israelite. A so-called black person might have a so-called white daddy. I mean, I'm pretty sure brothers have seen examples of that. Matthew 13, verse 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. So the Son of Man is a sower, man. He's the one that sowed the seed. Alright, and the field is the earth. Is the enemy is the so-called white man, the wicked in the earth. It went his way. But when when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servant of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? And he said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. So that's the reason why brothers, like when brothers say that if somebody's taken to this knowledge, if they're taken to it and they look like another nation, but you can sense it in their spirit that they might be a Jake, might be an Israelite. That's what you let them. You just let them grow with the let them grow with the wheat, let the tares grow with the wheat. Because the Most High, when it's time for when the reapers, man, the angels, they gonna separate them. All right. Lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. All right. So if you want to get the breakdown, I did throw out a few things, but he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The so-called white man, Esau, the wicked in the earth. Job 9, verse 24. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, the so-called white man. Devil means deceiver. And he's been deceiving our people for quite some time now, working with the spiritual demon Satan, who actually works under and is controlled, by the Most High. That sanctions certain things. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing, gnashing, and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom and of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. So that's what's gonna be going down, man. Straight up. That's what it is, though. That's what the whole thing, confusion of faces is about, man. So with that, respects, honor, glory with that, I want to say all glory, honor, praise to the Most High and its only begotten Son. Double honors to the elders out there. Double honors to the elders, respect to the brothers out there doing this work. The elders are doing this work too. So alright, man. I hope brothers was edified, confusion of faces. Alright. Shalom.